Hey you all, my name is Mariah Karina, coming at you with a relationship first aid tip for what you can do when someone's bugging you. So, when someone is bugging you, usually it's because they're displaying a double signal. So, what is a double signal? Double signal means that on the one hand, the person is identified with something. They have their me, and they are intentionally, consciously, usually verbally communicating to you, that part of them. But then they also have this other part, which is they're not me. And this is the part of themselves that they've made other, that they're not identified with, that usually they're unconscious of, and that often comes out in their nonverbal signals. And so it's called a double signal because both of these messages are being communicated at the same time. Now, as human beings, we are highly attuned to being able to recognize and perceive these double signals, right? I'm not mad. The person might actually be more identified, right? Their me is actually consciously experiencing themselves as not mad, but it's because they're making a boundary between that part of themselves that's more not me, that they're less identified with. Maybe it's much more difficult for them to be mad, to know their boundaries, to all that stuff. So it's all pushed into this corner of they're not me, that they're not aware of, unconscious of, and that's coming out at the same time, right? Or I'll give you one more example and then we'll get into the tip, right? Let's say you start a relationship with someone and you say, hey, I just want to be casual. And they're like, yes, of course, casual, casual, casual. But then anytime there's an opportunity to push for a little bit more intimacy, they go for it, right? And you say, hey, I thought we were just being casual here. And they say, of course, totally casual. Would you like to meet my mom? The person's me, casual, casual, the person's not me, wants more. Let's get into the tip. Step 1, get really specific about what it is that's bugging you. What is the double signal here? What are they identified with? What are they not identified with? And how are those both being expressed? One very solid way to be able to get clear about what the double signal is to give yourself the challenge to, in the privacy of your own inner world, formulate an accusation, right? If you were gonna think to yourself, what's really bugging me about this person, and give yourself permission to say, if I was just gonna bawl like full out, to them, what would it be, right? And it would be like, actually, it would be, you never do the dishes, right? That's a very common sort of domestic dispute. You never do the dishes. And usually the person who's not doing the dishes is like, oh, I want to. Oh, yes, of course. Maybe they've expressed a lot of desires. Maybe you two have even strategized plans together. But in their not me, they're still not doing the dishes, right? And so you formulated your accusation. You understand what the double signal is. And now that trick, right? Where it's actually the part of them who's not doing the dishes who needs more support. The whole reason it's expressing itself as a double signal is because they're trying to push away the part of them that doesn't want to do the dishes. So let's imagine, right, if you can, if you really step into their shoes, really think, why don't they want to do the dishes? And it's like, what? Oh, it's because they're entitled and immature and they just want to play and put it all on me. And that's your reaction, right, to the double signal. So just see if you can put it aside and just think, that's right. They want to play. They have this playful side to them. Maybe they want to come home after work and just be able to follow themselves. And even though you have your reaction over there, see if you can really get in there. Really imagine that you're living in a world that cherishes this part of them. See if you can really explore it and find it, and even find a little bit of love for it. Maybe even get to that place where it's like, right, I love their playfulness. There's a part of me that wishes, I too could follow myself a little bit more when I get home from work. Because here's another secret. Often, the thing that's more not me about them is something that that person needs more of. But it's usually also something that we need more of too. That's the whole reason it's annoying that they're not doing the dishes, is because it's all put on you and you don't get to play at all. They're in the role of the playful one, you're in the role of the responsible dish doing one, and you don't like that arrangement. Yeah, you want there to be more sharing of the roles. So once you're able to embrace that and welcome that part of them, then you can still bring in your own side, right? Say, wow, I love your playfulness. I want there to be more playfulness in our home. I'm so in awe of the way that you follow yourself. I want to create more opportunities for you to be able to follow yourself. I know you don't have that very much in your life. And also, neither do I. And it's really hard to be the one who's always doing the dishes. And what's interesting is that usually the answer to these solutions are in what everyone is trying to stuff away and hide and doesn't exist, right? Maybe there is a more playful way to do the dishes. I'm being idealistic here, right? But sometimes if you're able to just lay the truth bare, right? Welcome all the parts of them, welcome all the parts of you, and just make them present in your conscious awareness, that gives this opportunity for the system's intelligence to result in often creative emergent strategies for how to move through. And because you've been able to work on your own level of how much this bothers you, you've been able to kind of tone the heat down on how much it bugs you. Sometimes just that creates an opportunity in the relationship for a little bit more flow. So I hope that helps you identify what's bugging you, gives you a little bit of a way to start talking about it, and who knows, maybe even opens up some new solution or some new pathway of getting out of an old familiar point of tension and get yourself out of a jam. So thank you so much for being with me for this relationship first aid tool. It's kind of like you cut yourself, you're a little bugged by someone, and I hope this works like a Band-Aid that you can put on it. And sending you all so much love.